Imagine waking up in the year 2150. The world feels familiar, but something is deeply different. You look at your hands, expecting wrinkles, but there are none. Your body hasn't aged at all. And suddenly, a terrifying realization hits you. You rush to a mirror, heart racing with confusion. Your reflection stares back, young, flawless, unchanged. Decades may have passed, but time hasn't touched you. Your eyes widen as you try to process it. Something is not right. Outside, people walk the streets like nothing has changed. But no one looks old. No wrinkles, no slow movement, no signs of aging anywhere. It's as if time itself has been paused. Then it hits you. Death is gone. No funerals, no goodbyes, no endings. Humanity has done the impossible. But something about this perfection feels unsettling. What if immortality isn't a dream? What if it's a mistake? A world where no one dies sounds perfect, until you think deeper. Because every solution creates a new problem. Right now, somewhere on Earth, scientists are rewriting the rules of life. They are not just treating diseases anymore. They are trying to stop aging itself. And they are making progress. For thousands of years, humans have chased immortality. Ancient kings searched for magical elixirs. Legends spoke of hidden fountains of youth. But all of it was just myth. Today, that myth is turning into science. We can edit human DNA with precision. We can repair damaged cells. We can even slow down biological aging. Your body is already trying to keep you alive forever. Every second, millions of cells die and regenerate. You are constantly rebuilding yourself. But something eventually goes wrong. So why do we age at all? Why does this perfect system fail over time? The answer lies deep inside your DNA. And it's smaller than you think. Deep inside your body, every cell carries a copy of your DNA. This DNA holds the instructions for everything you are. Every movement, every thought, every heartbeat is controlled by it. But even this perfect system has limits. At the ends of your DNA strands are tiny protective caps called telomeres. Think of them like the plastic tips on shoelaces. They protect your genetic code from damage. Without them, your DNA would slowly break apart. Every time a cell divides, these telomeres get slightly shorter. It's a slow process, almost invisible. But it happens constantly, every single day. Like a ticking clock hidden inside your body. Over time, the shortening adds up. Cells begin to lose their ability to function properly. They stop repairing damage. They stop dividing. And eventually, they die. This is what we call aging. Not a single event, but a gradual breakdown of your body's systems. A slow decline happening at the microscopic level. One cell at a time. But here's where things get interesting. Scientists discovered something unusual. Certain cells in your body don't age the same way. They don't follow the normal rules. These cells produce an enzyme called telomerase. This enzyme rebuilds the telomeres. It essentially resets the biological clock of the cell. In simple terms, these cells can keep dividing without aging. They don't wear out. They don't stop. They just keep going. Almost forever. Scientists tested this in the lab. When they added telomerase to normal cells, something incredible happened. The cells became younger, healthier, stronger. It looked like they had found the key to immortality. A way to stop aging at its source. A way to rewrite the limits of human life. But there was a problem. The same mechanism that can make cells immortal is also responsible for one of the deadliest diseases on Earth. It's something hidden inside your body right now. And it can turn deadly without warning. Cancer cells use telomerase to their advantage. They rebuild their telomeres endlessly. They never stop dividing. They never die. What starts as a single abnormal cell quickly becomes millions. Then billions. Spreading uncontrollably through the body. This is the terrifying truth. The key to immortality is the same key that unlocks cancer. The line between life and destruction is razor thin. If scientists push too far, they risk creating cells that never stop growing. Cells that consume everything. Cells that could destroy the body from within. So the question becomes, can we control it? Can we unlock immortality without triggering something far worse? For years, the answer was uncertain. Progress was slow. Risk was high. And the consequences were too dangerous to ignore. Then everything changed. A breakthrough that shocked the scientific world. Something no one thought possible actually happened. Scientists didn't just slow aging, they reversed it. Not in theory. Not in simulations. But in living organisms. And that moment changed everything. Because for the first time in history, aging was no longer permanent. In 2016, a group of scientists conducted an experiment that changed everything. It wasn't science fiction anymore. It was happening inside a real laboratory. And the results were unbelievable. They took old mice, weak, slow, and near the end of their lifespan. These mice showed clear signs of aging. Damaged organs. Failing systems. Declining health. Then they activated specific genes inside their bodies. Genes that had been silent for most of their lives. Genes connected to cellular repair and regeneration. What happened next shocked everyone. The mice didn't just improve, they began to reverse aging. Their bodies started repairing themselves from the inside out. Damaged tissues healed. Organs regained function. Even their physical appearance began to change. It was as if time itself was moving backward. Their fur grew thicker. Their movement became faster. Their energy returned. These were no longer old mice. They were becoming young again. This wasn't just slowing aging. This was reversing it completely. A process once thought impossible was now real. And it worked. Scientists had effectively reset the biological clock. They had found a way to turn back time at the cellular level. And the implications were massive. Around the same time, another revolution was happening. Artificial intelligence began accelerating scientific discovery at an unprecedented speed. Suddenly, progress that once took decades could happen in years. Or even months. And that changed the timeline of immortality forever. Artificial intelligence is now transforming biology faster than ever before. Machines can analyze more data in seconds than humans could in years. Patterns that were once invisible are now crystal clear. And this changes everything. AI can now predict diseases before they even begin. It can detect tiny changes in your body long before symptoms appear. It sees the future of your health before you feel it. Imagine knowing you will get sick years before it happens. And stopping it before it even starts. That's no longer a dream. It's becoming reality. AI is also designing new medicines at incredible speed. What once took decades of research can now happen in days. Entire drug discoveries accelerated beyond imagination. It can simulate how your body reacts to treatments without ever testing on you. A digital version of your biology, predicting outcomes instantly. Scientists are now building detailed models of the human body. Not just organs, but entire biological systems working together. Like a living simulation. Some believe we are approaching a complete digital twin of a human. A perfect copy of your body, inside a machine. One that can be tested, repaired, and optimized. When biology becomes predictable, it becomes controllable. And when it becomes controllable, aging itself becomes a problem we can solve. Suddenly, immortality doesn't feel impossible anymore. It feels like a question of time. A problem waiting for a solution. But solving aging is just the beginning. Because the moment we defeat death, everything else changes. And not always for the better. Imagine a world where no one dies. Not from age, not from disease, not from time itself. At first, it sounds like paradise. But then, reality begins to settle in. Every day, more people are born. But no one leaves. The population keeps growing, and growing, without limit. Cities begin to overflow. Buildings rise higher. Spaces grow tighter. Privacy becomes a luxury few can afford. Resources start to run out. Food becomes scarce. Clean water becomes precious. Even air quality begins to decline. The balance of nature begins to collapse. Ecosystems struggle to survive under human pressure. Forests shrink. Oceans suffer. The question is no longer about living forever. It becomes about survival. Can the planet handle billions of immortal humans? Governments are forced to make impossible decisions. Rules about birth. Rules about life. Rules about who gets to exist. Would having children become restricted? Would families be limited by law? The idea of freedom begins to change. And then comes the hardest question of all. If everyone can live forever, who decides who gets that chance? Because in a world of limited resources, immortality may not be for everyone. And that changes everything about humanity. Now imagine your life in this world. You're not just living for 70 or 80 years anymore. You could live for 150, 200, maybe even longer. And that changes everything about how you live. Would you still go to school the same way? Would you choose the same career? Or would you delay everything, knowing you have centuries ahead? Imagine working the same job for 100 years. Or switching careers multiple times across your lifetime. The concept of a life plan begins to lose meaning. Retirement, as we know it, may disappear completely. If life is extended indefinitely, when do you stop working? Or do you ever stop? Wealth could accumulate endlessly. Those who gain power early might hold on to it forever. The gap between rich and poor could grow beyond anything we've seen. Imagine billionaires who never die. Leaders who never step down. Systems that never reset. Change itself could slow down, or stop completely. But there's another possibility. A world where people have more time to learn, explore, and grow. A world where knowledge compounds across centuries. Imagine mastering multiple skills, living multiple lives within one lifetime. Becoming an expert in fields you never thought possible. Society could evolve into something entirely new. Not driven by survival, but by curiosity and purpose. A different kind of human experience. But even in a perfect world, one challenge remains. Something deeper than money, deeper than time. Something inside the human mind itself. Living longer isn't just a physical challenge. It's a mental one. Because the human brain was never designed to handle centuries of existence. And that creates a new kind of problem. Every moment of your life becomes a memory. Every experience adds to an ever-growing collection inside your mind. But what happens when those memories never stop? Can the brain store hundreds of years of experiences? Or does something begin to break down over time? A limit we haven't discovered yet. Memories might start to blur. Moments might lose their clarity. The past could become harder to distinguish from the present. And then comes something even more dangerous. Boredom. Not the kind you feel in a day, but the kind that builds over decades. When you've seen everything, done everything, experienced everything, what's left? What motivates you to keep going? Today, time gives life urgency. Deadlines give meaning. The fact that life ends is what makes it valuable. But if time becomes infinite, urgency disappears. And without urgency, purpose may begin to fade. Some believe immortality could lead to a loss of meaning. A life without limits might slowly feel empty. Endless, but directionless. And that leads to a deeper question. Is death actually a flaw, or is it part of what makes life meaningful? What if immortality isn't about saving the body at all? What if the future of life is digital? A world where your mind exists beyond your physical form. Scientists are already trying to map the human brain in incredible detail. Every neuron. Every connection. Every signal that makes you, you. The idea is simple, but powerful. Scan the brain. Copy the data. Recreate the mind inside a machine. A digital version of you. No disease. No aging. No physical limits. Just pure consciousness, existing as information. It sounds like true immortality. But here's the problem. Is that really you? Or is it just a copy that thinks it's you? Imagine creating a perfect digital version of your mind. It has your memories. Your personality. Your thoughts. Everything feels identical. But the moment the copy is created, there are now two of you. One biological. One digital. Both believing they are the original. If your biological body dies, does you continue? Or does the original version of you disappear forever? This is the paradox of digital immortality. You may survive as data, but your consciousness might not. So even if we defeat aging, and even if we upload the mind, we still haven't solved the biggest mystery. What it means to truly exist. Now imagine immortality becomes real. But not for everyone. Only for those who can afford it. Only for those at the top. The technology exists. The science works. But the cost is beyond reach for most people. A privilege, not a right. The rich begin to extend their lives. Decade after decade, they continue to exist. While others still face time. This isn't just inequality anymore. It's something deeper. A divide between those who can live forever and those who cannot. Over time, this gap grows wider. Power accumulates. Influence strengthens. And control becomes concentrated in fewer hands. Imagine leaders who never leave power. corporations that never reset, systems that become permanent. Innovation could slow down. New generations struggle to rise. Opportunities become limited. The world stops evolving. Society could split into two groups. Not by wealth alone, but by lifespan. A new kind of human divide. And once that divide begins, it may never close. Because those who live longer have more time to gain even more power. At that point, immortality doesn't unite humanity. It separates it. And the consequences could last forever. So where does this leave us? After all the science, all the breakthroughs, all the possibilities, what are we really moving toward? Immortality promises a world without endings. A life without limits. A future where death is no longer part of the human experience. But every step forward comes with a cost. And every solution creates new questions we never had to face before. We've spent centuries trying to escape death. Fighting it. Delaying it. Trying to overcome it completely. But what if death isn't just an obstacle? What if it's a part of the system? A necessary balance in the cycle of life? Every ending creates space for something new. Every generation makes room for the next. That's how life evolves. Without endings, would anything truly begin? Without limits, would anything truly matter? Time gives life structure. It gives urgency to our choices. It forces us to act, to decide, to live. And maybe that's the paradox. The thing we fear the most might be the thing that gives life its meaning. So the question isn't just how long we can live. It's how we choose to live, knowing that time is limited. Right now, humanity stands at a turning point. For the first time in history, we are not just extending life, we are redefining it. The boundary between life and death is beginning to blur. The science is real. The progress is happening. And the question is no longer if, but when. When will we cross the line into immortality? It might not happen tomorrow. It might not happen in our lifetime. But the path is already being built, step by step. And when that moment comes, humanity will face its greatest decision. Not about technology, but about identity, about meaning, about existence itself. Will we choose to live forever? Or will we accept the limits that have defined us for thousands of years? Because immortality is not just a scientific breakthrough. It's a philosophical one. It changes what it means to be human. It challenges our values, our systems, our understanding of life itself. And it forces us to rethink everything we know. Maybe the future isn't about escaping death. Maybe it's about understanding it and finding meaning within it. So before we chase forever, we have to ask ourselves one simple question. One that only you can answer. If you had the chance to live forever, would you take it? Or is death what gives life its meaning?